Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the wake up call with myself and Alex.
Good morning. One of the two of us is camping right now or out in the wilderness.
I'm
I'm
in the
I,
wild.
I'm going to let you guess who it is.
One of us is in the wild.
Yes. And one of us is in his normal office.
All right, if you're new here, we do the crypto takes, our weird takes, and the news and analysis. So make sure you guys subscribe, hit that bell icon. We do this at least once per week.
Brrr. That was me. That wasn't Devin.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the news and analysis. Let me present this full screen. All right, it is May 29th, 2025, as of the time of recording. And the top story is White House advisory. Hassett says judge's decision on tariffs will be overturned. So basically, Trump came out with the tariffs, and then can't do that. And then they came out and said to the judges, yes, we will.
Okay. The drama goes on. I have no idea how I'm assuming that they're going to be able to appeal and that they're not going to be able to file some kind of executive order or something like that, and it'll be a normal process of trying to get this decision overturned. But you never know with the with this world that we live in, where Donald Trump, somebody asked him about like the taco trade yesterday, and I was like, please, I'm begging you, please do not ever bring that up to Trump again. What a world we live in. So
Yeah, no, that's probably been the trouble for a lot of traders of like, basically this market's a lot hinges on like what Trump's going to do, and predicting what Trump is going to do is it's a very difficult thing to do. If you figure out how to do it, please let me know.
yes.
All right, so just in, NASDAQ listed VVO Power has raised $121 million to launch an XRP focused treasury strategy, led by Saudi Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki Al Assad.
You nailed
I
it,
know
man.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 121 million for how big of a market cap crypto is that? That's multiple over a billion. That's
150
it's
billion, somewhere in there.
yeah, 150 billion. Sure, it's more and more the world is becoming blockchain technology central, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. But so exciting. Are you excited? I'm excited.
I'm excited. It's something. It's not everything, but it is something in the right direction.
Yeah.
And this to me is a little bit bigger. Uh
Yes.
Bergen County to tokenize $240 billion of property deeds on the Avalanche blockchain. The 5-year project will digitize 1,000 property deeds across New Jersey's the most populous county.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, you know, what does that mean for, as far as like boosting Avalanche? It's not like $240 billion is going into Avalanche, but this is kind of what I've pictured. This is when you think of NFTs or something like that. This is or RWA. This is actual real world use case of this stuff, and it's so much more unable to be tampered with than how things have been in the past. And I was a realtor once, and the process of getting title insurance, of making sure that the transfer of the deed historically has worked out in succession, and that there aren't any issues, that's a very expensive and lengthy process that slows down the real estate transaction. And so if there's anything that can be done to make that easier and easier, more visible, more secure, then fantastic. That's great.
Yeah, to me this is really exciting. I agree with Alex. I've been talking about this for a while. Like NFTs to me, you know, it's not just digital monkeys or something like
Yeah.
that. I think it is ownership. It's digital proof of ownership, and the possibilities of that are almost endless. And this is what I've been saying for years. Like, an NFT isn't going to be, a picture of a monkey, or it might be, but it's going to be the deed to your house, literally. It's going to be the deed to your house. It's going to be your airplane ticket. It's going to be your concert ticket. It's going to be your car title. It's going to be your registration to the DMV. All that stuff, I think, is improved by the blockchain, and I think it's
Yeah.
exciting. All right, Russian central bank just approved to allow Bitcoin and crypto derivatives offerings.
Russia's been what? I mean, they've been somewhat hostile to Bitcoin, right? And so this is it's not an insignificant thing. It's not going to cause the price of Bitcoin to skyrocket, but um, this is what the future is going to look like, where we see certainly lots of leaders backtrack on crypto and in particular on Bitcoin. So thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's another little domino. It's not every one thing is this big catastrophic thing, but it's the collective of dominoes that are falling sort of points in the right direction. Obviously, super, super macro. I think that, when you're looking at news, it's probably the most lagging indicator of like what's actually happening. And a lot of times it's actually already full circle. But, we're seeing everything sort of just fall into place slowly, surely, and then exponentially.
Yeah.
All right. Is it this simple? Alex, what do you
All right,
think?
so I made a video showing this exact chart. This is from somebody. It's pinned on his profile. His name's James Wynn. He's making a rookie mistake with hundreds of millions of dollars. He's publicly entering longs and shorts on crypto and giving everyone can know exactly what the market makers are going to try to do to get him to lose his millions of dollars. And is it this simple? There's a couple of things that would support this possibility. And the DXY, I've mentioned a couple of charts on my channels that would communicate something similar to this, which is, first of all, the DXY, there's this inverse lagging correlator that somebody has drawn my attention to, where the DXY goes, when the DXY starts a downtrend, that kicks off a 109-day period of the DXY of a period where after that period, I know I'm butchering this, but there's somewhere between 49 to 56 days of a rally. And we are in day 10 of that 49-day stretch, where every time so far in the past, at least in the last year and a half that's happened, we've rallied pretty significantly, and that would put us at a peak in July 6th. The other thing that I would say is, M2 money supply, if we're going to continue to follow that, that would put us at like 130,000 in June, 140,000 in July. And then, I mean, looking at Bitcoin dominance, it does look like it's putting in a lower high. I mean, it's still too early to call. Maybe that complacency bounce would be some kind of significant run in altcoins. We'll see. I mean, I'm not saying that November is going to be despair, especially if we do have a V-shaped recovery in the stock market. But maybe this is it.
Yeah. So my thoughts on this are, this is now like the popular narrative. So I'm just already going to be jaded against this a little bit.
Yeah.
I do think June and July things really start to heat up. I think that is, I mean, the chart, everything is pointing that in that direction. Especially Ethereum. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. I do think that things are about to get really heated up, but is it the end of the heating up in August? And also, is it going to be in this prolonged bear market after that? I don't think so. If anything, we might pause out in August and September. I do anticipate a little bit of a pullback, but I think it's probably going to be the end of like whatever pullback that we get in September. I've said all along that November to me is peak of euphoria, and it could even 2026. And I think there's a real pause. Again, we've talked about this some. I'm not necessarily predicting probability, but I do think there's a reasonable plausibility that, hey, we skip a 4-year cycle to the upside
Yeah.
and go all the way into 2029.
So there was a chart as you bring that up. Um, there was something that I saw that showed projections for how much the spot Bitcoin ETFs are going to buy into 2026 and 2027, and it's more than 2024, 2025. And if that's the case, like, I could see it being a couple of, what if, do I think this is going to happen? I'm going to continue to remain in this mindset that we will enter a bear market just like we've always done until we see something proven otherwise. But what if it's this constant thing of like Bitcoin just steadily grinding higher for the next 4 years or something like that? There's a possibility I could see that happening.
Well, and another reasonable reason why you could expect that. Coinbase was added to the S&P 500, and I think that there's going to be other crypto related coins or stocks added to the S&P 500 if they don't figure out how to add Bitcoin. I don't know how they would do that, but maybe it could be MicroStrategy or whatever the case may be. But what that really means is people with their 401ks, they go to work and they don't even think about it, are in DCAing into the S&P 500. And with Coinbase being in the S&P 500, what that indirectly means is you're DCAing into Bitcoin, very, very small percentage. And I think that there's going to be more of that as time goes on. We'll see how it plays out. And again, I'm not predicting this. I just
Yeah.
think that there's a reasonable plausibility, and I'm going to have a plan in place if that is what we do. I do think that we're probably going to get a bear market, late 2026 or 2027, whatever the case may be. We'll see when we get it. But I already have a plan in place if we're just going to steadily climb, and we'll see. So, all right. And with that, let's get into the charts and the coffee. I'm going to switch to Alex's screen here. There we go.
Yeah, for me, all eyes are on Ethereum. It's, oh my goodness, the last 24 hours for Ethereum, it's like just it's such a tease because I mean this is looking like it really really is ready to break through. I mean, you can see sort of a triangle formation here. The floor keeps raising, but then there's this double resistance here. The double resistance is, I pay a lot of attention to the 200-day moving average, and this blue line here is the 2023 peak. The 2023 peak. And so, okay, Ethereum made a breakout above 2717, but rejected and now is dipping. There's a comment there. Okay, that's fine. It's actually broken through 2717 a couple of times and got rejected. At some point, in my opinion, it should break higher. But then even look at this dip in comparison to a few days ago. I mean, this dip so far is still a much higher floor. We could certainly even go lower from here and then make another move up to 2717 and hopefully break out of there. If that's the case, if and when it breaks through 2717 or the 200-day moving average and actually breaks through and doesn't just form some kind of gnarly wick like it did today, in my opinion, it's going to be a pretty clear shot to 3000, and there's potentially even higher than that, which means that Bitcoin dominance would, in my opinion, also put in a lower low on this chart. I think that would be enough energy with Ethereum breaking out and with altcoins following suit, that Bitcoin dominance would put in a lower low, which means also, we are in for sure a downtrend on Bitcoin dominance. Now, looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart here, it's looking pretty good. It got up to a 702 retrace, and that's where, as of right now, at least, it peaks. A 702 retrace from swing high to swing low. So, given the fact that, like, my goodness, man, people are still in the gutter.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, it's insane to me, but I understand because, like, it's stressful holding altcoins because we know, I mean, by and large, a lot of these altcoins are not going to be lasting very long, and so we need somebody to buy at a higher price than we bought in. But day by day, this is we tend to forget when we look at the 2017 bull run or the 2021 bull run that each of those candles is a day, because it feels like a lot slower when you're living it out in real time. But as I'm seeing this play itself out in real time, it's looking pretty good. So
I'm very encouraged. I'm going to switch my screen real quick.
yep.
I'm very encouraged with where we're at. And the last time that we talked, this is pretty much what we were talking about the, we were talking about the big plunge that we had with the Bitcoin dominance being on distribution. In my opinion, you have your first big plunge and then you get a retrace to the 618702, and in my opinion, we've clearly gotten a rejection here. And what we can see when we zoom in, like you said, is a little bit too early to call, but this candle is already bigger than this candle. And the
Mhm.
wick is lower than this too. So you could say that this is a micro lower low. And what I want to see for the macro confirmation is going to be about 62%, would be double confirmation that not only has this broken trend, but this is literally on distribution as well. Of course, I'm talking about Wyckoff distribution. And in my opinion, this is where we're at. We just had our UTAD, we had our big plunge, we had a retrace to the 702, and we're starting to roll back over. In my opinion, this is exactly where we're at. And people are like, does Ethereum need to make an all-time high for Bitcoin dominance to really roll over? No, it does not. And we're seeing that, like Ethereum even getting to 2,700 was enough to bring Bitcoin dominance down. In my opinion, even Ethereum getting to 3,000, 3,300 is going to be enough to signify a clear reversal. And so all eyes are on Ethereum right now. And I've given my case, I've made my case that I think it's a couple of beats behind Bitcoin. And what we're seeing too, like this, you might be like, oh, it's just a double rejection, a triple rejection. Like, sure, that's fine. It didn't wick higher. It wicked all the way to 2,800 on my screen. But
Yeah.
look at the candle. Look at the daily body candle. This is already the 6-month high. This is the highest daily body candle that we've had on Bitcoin for the last 6 months. And my theory or thesis on Ethereum is it's just a beat or two behind Bitcoin. And I will show that. On the top is Ethereum, and then on the bottom, well, we'll do it like this, I guess. That's fine. No, we're not going to do it like that. On the top is Ethereum. On the bottom is going to be Bitcoin. So this is what I've been saying since for a while now, that these two are kind of the same. It's just Bitcoin is more ahead of Ethereum, and that's pretty much to be expected in all reality. You have a downtrend from Ethereum, a downtrend from Bitcoin. You go into accumulation, you get your spring, you break the downtrend, you chop sideways, you break another leg higher to the sign of strength. You break another leg higher to the sign of strength. And then what we can see is when it started, it was slowly, and then it was suddenly, and Bitcoin sort of staircase its way higher. I think that that's what Ethereum's about to do. I'm not saying, this hour or today or tomorrow,
Yeah.
but I think very soon it might get rejected here and it might come back down. Sure. But that is the next phase to me, is going to 3,000, 3,300. And that's going to be more than enough on Bitcoin dominance to really get things moving. And, very quietly too, yesterday, Bitcoin pulled back, had a red day, and most of the altcoins did not. And this was, everyone's always complaining about like, oh, you spend too much time on Bitcoin, you spend too much time on Bitcoin. But when Bitcoin pulls back and Ethereum is shooting off, like people are still in the dumps. Like, I don't get it. Like, you know, so someone said tariffs are gone. Yeah, we covered that in the beginning of the live stream. But yeah, I'm very encouraged. Ultimately, I still think that Bitcoin's going to do. I still think that Bitcoin is going to go to 118,000. We got within 5% of that, so I'm not married to that, but it still looks the most probable to me. We clearly had accumulation. You break, you chop, and it's just been kind of staircasing its way higher. And I think that that's probably what it's going to do again. So with that, let's get into these
Yeah.
comments.
Um
I'm gonna pull this over here actually.
I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking, I was hoping to make a video before going live today, but that didn't happen. And my message in that video was just like, I'm just really comfortable holding right now, even altcoins. I'm not, I don't enjoy holding altcoins for long periods of time. I mean, some of them fine, like, some of the larger ones, but even like the meme coins, some of my meme coins, that I bought, some of those older ones, the larger cap older ones, like, older, fart coin, popcat, whatever, and so that's just going to be my plan for the next however long, is just, I'm pretty confident right now, just waiting and sitting around, and just, if there's red days or green days, whatever, then
Yeah,
we'll be ready to go. So
like we're in an uptrend. Like
yeah,
I think that retail has not come to terms with this. We're in an uptrend, and when you're in a downtrend, like dips are a little bit more dicey. But when you're in an uptrend, dips are for buying, and that is where I'm at. I feel a lot of confidence in that. A lot of people are asking about ZBEC. What are your thoughts
yeah.
on ZBEC, Alex?
Could you switch to my chart here?
Yes.
It's funny. Last week during my live stream, I every other question was about ZBEC, and I was just getting tired of it. So I jokingly said ZBEC's going to zero, not realizing that this was happening. But I mean, you and I know, like,
Yep.
we see
We
a
know what
chart
this
like
means.
this. Yeah, we see a chart like this. We're not excited about buying.
Nope.
Now this reminds me a lot of XCN. In that time that XCN went crazy, I remember it pumped really hard, and then I was like, you know what, I wouldn't touch it, and then it pumped really hard a second time, and I doubled down. I was like, I'm definitely not touching it now. And some people got upset that I would have bought, but you said you weren't touching it on that first pump. This reminds me of that. It got up to a 1.618 retrace, got rejected, breaking out. All right, broke through the 1.618. So where's the peak for this? This is its all-time chart.
Yep.
Where's the peak? It's there's I mean, even if it has a lot higher to go, I just think short term, what's going to happen is exactly what happens with every crypto that people get excited about. It chops for longer than you're interested in chopping. This will eventually chop,
Mm.
and whatever. I'm not touching it.
Yeah, so my thoughts on it, I've made it pretty clear on my channel. We've talked about ZBEC a lot. I've said I like the charts for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Because this to me is this is your classic Wyckoff accumulation. And I already had my targets, and it gave you a year at this price.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is my position on ZBEC. If you're heavily positioned in ZBEC, great. I am pumped for you that you got a 6x. Now I would consider taking profit. If you're not positioned on ZBEC, now is not the time to make a position, because it gave you a year of this price. Not even the best case scenario. I'm not even talking about the wicks. I'm just talking about the average price over the last year. It gave you an entire year to get that. And my first target when I've been reviewing ZBEC was half of a penny. We are here. We already passed my first target. So that's like, you should take profit or some profit. And then my macro target is a penny. So from here, you know what I mean? ZBEC might do 80%. For me, it's like Bitcoin is going to do that. So, I'm not really that interested in making, if you don't have a position on ZBEC, I don't recommend making a position on ZBEC. It will probably do another 80% gain. But I'm not interested in buying a breakout. This is already in the markup phase. The next thing is going to be, it's going to start to get into distribution. And
Yeah.
what we can see on the RSI, it could be hot for a long time, and it could be way oversold and all that. But this is definitely overbought at this point, and it could be overbought for a little while. That's fine. But this is a first indication that, like, hey, the end of the line is near. And I never recommend buying breakouts like this.
Yeah, and even, I mean, on the 4-hour chart, I'm seeing what's probably going to end up being a bearish divergence on it, and it's like, okay, you want to get in on that, you can provide some liquidity for other people. It's
Yeah,
cool.
no, thank you. Edward, thanks for the 199 donation. Give Alex a random. Oh yeah. Okay. Good morning, Alex. Any thoughts on Katina?
On what?
I put
Kita?
it Kita.
What is Kita? I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
All right,
Same.
let me pull up the chart here. All right, I see one option on Blowfin. Okay, so this is the 4-hour chart. Cool. What is I I don't know. I don't know anything about this. I don't know if it's a meme coin, if it's utility.
I mean, that
Chart.
looks like distribution to me, to be honest with you.
Sure.
But not enough. Not enough data, really.
Yeah, it's a layer 1 with LP on base. Okay.
Someone asked me thoughts on Fat Cat. I like Fat Cat. Again, you bet on the jockey, not the horse. I believe in the jockey on Fat Cat. To me, Fat Cat, Solnick are kind of in a category of our own. Chainlink, I like Chainlink here. I think Chainlink's going to perform very, very well.
It's if I'm talking about, being comfortable holding a cryptocurrency, Chainlink is one that I'm very comfortable holding right now. I'm just not. I would love it. I'd be ecstatic with an entry at 1376 or something like that. But I mean, this looks like a nice solid base for a higher low being formed, and then eventually breaking through 1762 and beyond, breaking through the 200-day moving average. So yeah, Chainlink for sure. What
are your targets on Chainlink?
I don't really. I mean, in early 2024, I made a price target of 50 something. I don't even remember. I mean, maybe it would get up that high, but I'm not holding it for that long.
I think it has a reasonable plausibility of getting to that. So 38 is my bear case, 78 is my medium, and then 178 would be like euphoria, parabolic. And that's based off of market cap. There's a little bit of inflation, not a lot. So I'm measuring that off of market cap. Someone said GRT. I don't love GRT.
Me neither.
Way too much inflation.
Yeah, go ahead. That's exactly what I was thinking. The chart, it's underperforming. A lot of these cryptos from 2021 with high inflation are still underperforming right now. I mean, GRT, Filecoin, ICP, look at their charts. That's not what I'm interested in buying right at this moment.
Someone asked, why is Bitcoin dominance relevant? Dominance going down doesn't dive alt season drives dominance going down. Is it the chicken or the egg? I would say you need dominance. Like, in order to get an alt season, you need two things to be true at the same time. You need Bitcoin to be making an all-time high, check, and you need dominance to be falling off a cliff. Alt season or altcoins rising while Bitcoin is rising less is going to drive that. But the reason that dominance is important is because you can get an indication of like where the altcoins are going to be going in relation with Bitcoin. And what I think we're in the beginning stages of being on a downtrend, which would bode well for altcoins. So that's why it's important.
Yeah, that's a weird question. You asked it twice, Bonio. I don't even know how to respond to that. I'll just ride off of Devin's comment there. So,
whoops. That's crazy. I just saw. So R-Drum, good or bad? R-Drum's okay. R-Drum is someone asked me R-Drum good or bad. To me, R-Drum is okay. It's car changing money. If you invest $7,000, you might be able to upgrade your Toyota. But if you want to invest $73 into R-Drum and retire your lineage, that's not going to happen.
Bonio just asked the same question that we just answered. Okay. I saw a question about Hyperliquid. I'm curious your thoughts on that, because I mean, looking at the chart, it's another one that people are very excited about. But this is also, last I checked, this is number 11 on CoinMarketCap.com. So what are we expecting with this? Are you expecting a 100x? Now, I have a post saved on X. I feel like I've completely missed the boat on this, because I know, yeah, there's a lot of people really excited about Hyperliquid. And there's maybe ways to take advantage of airdrops. I just know very little about this entirely. So am I gonna, is this the biggest mistake of this bull run for me? I don't know, but
Well, you said it at the beginning, like it's already it's number 12 as of the time of recording.
sure.
Potato. But, that already is going to hemorrhage a lot of gains. And then I'm looking at it on CoinMarketCap right now, and the market cap is $10 billion, which is, that's a blue chip, but the, FDV is 32 billion. So there's some serious inflation, more than I'm willing to go with. But if you're in Hyperliquid, I hopefully it face meltingly wrong, but I don't think that there's going to be a crazy amount of gains on that.
So yeah, I mean, AJ responds, there will be another airdrop coming up, so farming will be aggressive soon. That would be the play for me. I mean, that's the post that I saved on X, is basically saying, somebody claiming he's going to make $1 million off of his airdrop strategy, and I'm like, okay, cool. I don't even know where to begin, but I am interested in learning more.
All right, someone asked Solana or Sui. What are your
Sui.
thoughts on that? Yeah.
So I bought big back into Sui after that Cetus hack. It's just, I mean, again, for me, the 200-day moving average is a significant level, and it's right there at that level. So I have a pretty tight stop on that entry, and I think it has more potentially upside. I don't think, Sui could 2x from here. I don't think Solana is going to do that.
I think Solana will do that.
Yeah, you think Solana's, I do not. But I think Sui is still, it's more likely to do that.
I think they'll both do it. If you're asking me right now, I think for the next year, I would say a slight edge for me personally is going to be Solana. If you're asking me for the next 10 years, I would give a massive edge to Solana. I believe in the technology way more on Solana than I do Sui, but neither one of them are going to be great investments as far as ROI perspective goes. I think they've both done a lot of their stuff.
I mean, that's mostly my gas for getting in and out of different cryptos on their blockchains.
Can you explain how the inflation affects it? Price equals. Let's do a little thing here. I got Beam up here, but it doesn't matter. Let me go to my screen. Let me give you a very important lesson in cryptocurrency. This perhaps is going to be the most important lesson.
Bonio, we answered your question already. Sorry. This is the 4th time he's asked that question.
This is going to be the most important lesson that you get in cryptocurrency. All right. So if you can learn one thing from me and one thing alone, this is it. Price equals, does it equal what you do? Does it equal your ecosystem? Does it equal if you cure cancer? Does it equal if you donated money to the hospitals and save the children's at St. P and Judy and all that stuff? No, it does not equal any of those things. Price equals supply plus demand. That's it. It's as simple as that. And I know that's really, really simple, and you really don't need me, but that's the truth. Price equals supply plus demand. So if a coin has a lot of inflation, meaning they're dumping supply on your head, well, what does that mean? That means you're diluting the product, the same as the US dollar. Like, why does the US dollar, it's down 98% of its purchasing power since 1971? That sucks. That's the whole reason we're in crypto in the first place, because they're diluting the product. And that's what happens when a coin or anything has inflation. Inflation is not good for anyone except for the owners or the developers. That's it. So price equals supply plus demand. That's it.
Yeah, if you could switch to my screen, I want to highlight something that, you brought up, or well, you helped me out on, because I was looking at the Solana chart earlier this year. I was like, man, this looks like it's over. It's lost a 1-year range. And then you pointed out to me the market cap chart. So here's the price chart And you can see it held this 1 year range around $126, just very, very well for over a year. And then it just lost it. It spent a couple of weeks below that range, but then look at the market cap chart. And you can see same deal. Instead of losing that range, it actually just spent a day or two below and then bounced right back up. So a lot of times the analysis of a market cap chart is more important than the price chart, especially when that's a highly inflationary crypto. Not that Solana is super highly inflationary, but its inflation makes a difference that you need to pay attention to both charts.
Yeah. Especially on like if you're measuring like Filecoin or if you're measuring something highly inflation, the market cap is the truth. I mean, even XRP, right? We got all the way to the 1618 on market cap, even though it was barely a double top or barely an all-time high. The market cap got to the 1618, and that's why I took profit there. It wasn't just like this magic number that I made up in my head. I projected where the 1618 of the market cap would be. Someone said, "Thanks, Ski. Ondo is solid, but lots of inflation. Thoughts?" Listen, if it has lots of inflation, it's not for me. That doesn't mean it's not for you, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I like Ondo fundamentally. I like it a lot. They're trying to bring treasuries to the blockchain, and if there was ever a time for something as important as that, especially like with the bond market imploding, not just in the United States but in Japan and other places around the world, the more that we can have access to treasuries and the ability to bring that down, the better. But it's highly inflationary. I prefer Pendle. What? Go ahead.
That's really how I separate stuff. Like I can respect Ondo as like, man, this is awesome. I'm excited for Ondo. Like I hope that they change the entire world. And I can also think that it's not a great investment. You know what I mean? Like two things can be true at one time. That's how I feel about a lot of projects. I think Filecoin's an awesome project that's doing awesome things, but I don't think it's a good investment. Top ROI besides Solnic, there is no second bet. No, I'm just kidding. It's Fat Cat and Hee for sure.
There we go. Yeah, somebody asked about Unique Birds. Every time we go live together, Unique Birds asks me about Hee. Why are people excited about June? June is Hee month. We're going to do a big giveaway in June, bigger than we've ever done. So it's going to be for the entire month.
Get out of the way, Pride Month. It's Hee month.
That's right. That's right. Stop shoving your dogma down my throat, okay? It's Hee month now.
I saw a meme. It was like Pride Month in Pakistan, and it was like a bunch of rocks.
I don't. Oh, I get it. Okay.
All right. By the way, if somebody messages you, it's not us. It's somebody from Pakistan or Kakistan.
That's right. Yeah.
Near or Sui?
Sui. Maybe. I mean, I haven't looked at the near chart in a while. I mean, maybe near. I mean, it's got a long way to go. And I'm looking at this chart right now. I'm assuming you're calling this the spring, right?
Let me pull it up. I'm going to pull up the market cap because I know there's a little bit of inflation on near. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just like, I would say this is a beat behind Ethereum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accumulation. Yeah, that's what that looks like to me. And the market cap, back in that November, December push, it got all the way to the 702. And then it's been on a steady downtrend. And to me, what we've done is broken that downtrend. It's not off the rainbows and sunshines necessarily, but it's no longer in a downtrend. So I would pick near here because it's at even the market cap's below the 236, which is what I consider to be extreme value, even on the macro. And if we were to do just the micro Fibonacci pull to the 1618 takes you to a 3x, but the macro 1618 is a 5x. So I think 3 to 5x for near is reasonable.
I'm with you on near being a better option now that I'm looking at this. So I mean, Sui's already pumped really hard. So
yeah. What's your favorite investment? I have a few. I mean, Solnic, Fat Cat are my top ROI plays. My top Medium cap is probably Flux. Dynex has started to wake up a little bit. What is another medium cap that I like? I like XYO for medium cap. For blue chips, I like ADA. I like V Chain here. I like what else do I like? Quant. I think those are good blue chip plays.
Yeah,
But
Quant's been doing well lately.
Quant
So,
does its own thing. Quant is
yeah.
just like, it's like Texas. It's like, it's the last frontier. It's are we sure about this United States thing? I don't know. Uh, yeah, Quant just does its own thing. It's kind of hilarious. But those
Yeah.
are some of my picks. I like a lot of coins. I make these videos, top 5 coins. Really, I have like 17 coins that I like, but that's not as sexy of a thumbnail or a title. My top 17 plays as of the timer. It just doesn't have
Yeah.
the same catch to it.
Yeah.
Leroy Jenkins, what's up, bro?
Yeah. I mean, I know Ave's been just
Oh,
all right. Ave.
yeah.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
Ave.
Ave.
I'm in
Yeah.
a long on Ave that is just crushing.
Nice.
I think I've already de-risked like heavily. I've moved my stop losses to take profit. And this is kind of what I teach of like when you're first in a trade or a position, whether it's spot or trading, this is how I like to play things. I like to be very conservative about taking profits. When I'm trading, normally it's like 20% because I do 3x and I'll do
Mhm.
40% and kind of 60%. And then I get a guaranteed profit when I do that. And then I move my stop losses and I swing for the bigger move. And I've already done this with Ave and it's up 300 and I think 25% as of the time of recording. And I did 3x leverage. And
Nice.
I'm cool on just waiting Ave to do its thing. I've moved my stop loss to where it's a guaranteed profit. And I'm just going to let it do its thing. I think that Ave definitely is a blue chip that has a lot of potential gains.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, not bad inflation. And it's just, people have asked me between Aave and Compound, and you might be tempted to think that Compound's a better play because it's a smaller market cap, but I've looked into the numbers. I mean, if you look at TVL between both of them, Aave is blowing Compound out of the water. It's not even close. And so I really do think that Aave has better potential for returns, even though it's a much bigger market cap. And that it's a safer play. So
Yeah. So I think 17 billion is reasonable for Ave. And we're at 4 billion now. So there you go.
I think that's their TV. Well, that was a year ago. I last checked their TVL, but anyway.
Yeah, but their chart is, to me is just a crazy looking chart. This is about as good as it gets, about as clean as it gets for me. This is a accumulation. This is your sign
Yeah,
of strength, your back test. This to me, it's already starting the markup phase. Yeah, I think reasonably 17 billion, even 25 billion. I think that it could reasonably get to the parabolic because it had such a healthy distribution too. That means it's going to have a bigger floor to launch off of once it gets there. So yeah, I'm a fan of Ave. I've been trading Ave and I've been doing very well on that.
hmm
And again, I'm looking at market cap. Market cap is the truth.
yep, yep.
ETH. I think ETH is about to break out. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, but the next thing is going to 3,000 to 3,300, and I think that's going to kick off Bitcoin dominance officially confirmed being in a downtrend.
Yep, we're so close, man.
Will Chainlink and AVAX be alts that last 5 to 10 years down the road? I think they have a high probability. I
I
feel
think so.
comfortable holding both of those.
I mean, even worst case scenario, like absolute worst case scenario, like great financial crisis 2.0 or something like that. There's enough established with both of those that they would at least still be used. So
Yeah. I like Pinlink. People keep asking me Pinlink on my chat. I think it's bottomed. I think it's in accumulation.
yeah, there
I
isn't
got
much
a
of a floor.
go ahead.
There isn't much lower that it could reasonably go. I don't think. I mean, that looks like a floor.
Yeah. I got a lot of hate on Pinlink because when I was being asked about Pinlink, They thought I was like a homer for Solnick or whatever. Um, Meanwhile, it had like 31 straight green days in a row. And I was just like, if you were my brother, I would say take profit. And people thought I hated Pinlink. I did not hate Pinlink. I know what a breakout looks like, and I know when it's time to take profit. Generally, maybe I don't get every single thing right, but if something is vertical like that, it's time to take profit. So they thought that I hated Pinlink. I do not hate Pinlink. I think it got a nice, healthy distribution. I think it had a nice, healthy markdown, and I think it's doing a nice, healthy. Jesus, sound like Mike Tyson here. I think it's doing a nice, healthy accumulation now, which is good. So I think that the bottom is in for Pinlink, and I think it looks like a good-looking chart to me.
Could you put Dave's comment on here? Why do we think the market is moving bullish for crypto? That one. I'll just read it. Why do we think the market is moving bullish for crypto and alts, even with the Fed clearly not going to cut rates soon? That certainly plays an effect into my mindset right now, into thinking that, you know, we're not going to have something like a 2018 or 2021 full-blown alt season. But I'm always in favor of this idea that we're going to have moments where altcoins outperform Bitcoin, based off of you know, everything that we're talking about with structure. I mean, you know, that Aave chart, after looking at all that distribution that, or sorry, the accumulation that has happened with Aave, there's room to the upside, and whether that is absolute euphoria or whether it's just a retrace, I'm here for that, and I'm bullish right now, and maybe there's going to be a time I'll reevaluate.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more bullish, I think, than Alex.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I'm willing to reevaluate, you know, literally every day, every week. I'm pretty slow moving with my evaluations. I'm stubborn, and I'm, you know, slow to pivot because I think things just have a way of just working themselves out, you know. And the market makers are good at what they do. And what they do is they find lines in the sand that traders draw, and then they go to those lines and they take them out, and then it's off and away, just like Ethereum just did with what I think is a bear trap. But I would say to that, like, money printing has already started. They may not
Yeah.
have, you know, it's already in QE. China is printing money. The UK is printing money. Everywhere is printing money. Even the United States is printing money. It's just at a slower rate. Like, this idea that they ever stop printing money is not real. They always print money. It's just, is it a fire hose or is it a garden hose? That's the difference. And I would say that they're going to start officially cutting probably by July. So, like, how long is soon to you? Because, you know, 2 months is not that long away to me.
Yeah, and then even, all right, I mean, will they cut in July? Whatever. I mean, here's the deal. Like, I mean, look at 1995 and 1998. They started cutting rates and then they stopped,
Right.
and then the stock market went crazy. So, you know, I mean, I think the thing that makes me less bullish on altcoins than Devin is because just the nature of the risk. I think it is more favorable when rates are lower, but we can, whatever. I'm done with that.
Well, you know, I don't think everything is going to go, but I do think that a lot of things are going to retrace. I think that
Yeah.
there's going to be some gains to be had either way we go. And I think that some things will make new all-time highs. Not everything. But I have I'm going to switch to my screen because I'm going to show you where I think that we're at in this, you know, because my theory is that Bitcoin dominance has peaked. And I've been saying that since for a while now. I've been saying that I think that Bitcoin dominance has peaked. I've been pretty steady on that take. Um, and, you know, Bitcoin has made an all time high. So I'm going to show you where I think that we're at here. I'm going to line this up pretty nicely here. And then
It's still showing my screen.
it's all right. I wanted to get it
Okay.
nice and pretty for everyone.
Oh, that's really pretty.
All right, so on the top is Bitcoin dominance, and I have these dates. These are the same dates. These are circled. So this is when Bitcoin dominance peaked in December of 20. And I'm not calling for necessarily it's going to be a 2021 type alt season, but I do think that there's going to be something, and there's similarities here as far as structure. Maybe there's diminishing returns, whatever. I'm willing for, uh, but what I think is clear is we're about to start a uptrend for the total 2, the total 3, the others, because this is where Bitcoin dominance peaked. This is where Bitcoin was during that same time. And what you could see is it was just barely making an all-time high. Okay. And that's what we just did. And we're not even at an all-time high today on Bitcoin, but we did make one like a week ago. And to me, Bitcoin dominance peaked. Bitcoin continued to rise. And I think that this is the setup that we have. It may not be this violent. It may not get, I don't think it's going to go to like high 30s or anything like that. But I do think, we could get to low 50s, I think is a reasonable expectation, or even high 50s that's going to do wonders for the altcoins. So that's basically where I think that we're at structurally. The returns might be different,
Yeah.
the time might be different, whatever, but structurally, that's where I think that we're at.
Yeah. This is a Pendle chart. Somebody asked about Pendle. I mean, looks pretty clean to me. Nothing, no other comments. I mean, I know you look at longer time frames. I did want to look at virtuals too, because I've gotten a lot of questions about virtual USD. So, I bought into this last week or something like that, just for short-term gains. I mean, looking at it now, I really, it looks like it's back testing this previous chop, and I think it's looking like a good chart. So somebody asked if it could go to $8. I think that's reasonable, but
What do you think meme coins will top? When do you think meme coins will top? When we go into euphoria?
yeah,
Like this idea that meme coins are dead. I don't buy it. Like, I don't have any interest in buying a brand new meme coin, but I listen, the second that we go back into hope or euphoria, like, I think it's just the spirit of crypto that memes are always going to be around. That's always going to be a thing.
yeah,
I don't that was a narrative that meme coins are dead, and that they're never going to have, but that's just the spirit of crypto. People get greedy, and they get greedy quick, and they're willing to just throw caution to the wind the second that we get into euphoria. We're not there right now, and I think that there's lots of indications that you know retail is just not excited right now, and that's a great sign. That's a healthy place to be. When retail gets excited, it's caution. It's time to be cautious. But I've made my case on this. Alex could, testify to the views. It's just not. It's not what peak retail euphoria looks like. It's not there on Google Trends. The Coinbase ranking is not there. People will say, well, Robinhood has a bigger play. Robinhood also is not even a top 200 app. So there's lots of indications and signs that retail is not in this game.
yeah. This is we've talked about this a ton. I mean, Bitcoin hit an all-time high. This is the weirdest all-time high break that I've ever experienced. See Jamil, what's up, Jamil? He says, "Sir, when's my alt season I was promised?" Yeah, it's funny just looking at Bitcoin. Every time I make a video about Bitcoin, people comment. Their comments are just like, "I don't know, what about altcoins?" And I'm like, well, it's a video about Bitcoin, man. So
Yeah, well, and then, like I said, Bitcoin pulls back and Ethereum is up, and people are still like, they're still in the dumps about it. So it's like, well, which is it?
yeah, I mean, what's it going to take for excitement to be back? So, like Kevin says, seems like retail has lost interest in crypto. Is the lack of interest at this point in the cycle different than the last couple of cycles, or is it the same in your opinion? It's different than at this time in 2021, or I should say, in April of 2021. At this point, in May of 2021, we dumped really hard. But there was a lot of excitement in the market, more excitement. I would say even after that dump, there was more hope for the remainder of that year than there is now. I was going to say something else, but if you want to.
Yeah, I don't think that I think it's going to take Ethereum getting to an all-time high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the 702 even, like 30, 34, 3,500.
It's going to need to be something pretty explosive to get people excited again. And great. You know what? Let's climb that wall of worry if that's the direction we're going to go.
Yeah, listen, I don't want retail to be excited because
Yeah.
that means it's time to take profit.
Yeah. And all I really care about is, can we please get 1,000 people in my live stream again? Not 700 or 800, but 1,000. I'm literally, the moment that happens, I'm turning off my live stream and I'm selling more than half of my crypto.
Yeah. It's the same thing for me. Like, my views will be way up. I'll have videos that will be up too. And you can even, I don't know if you track your metrics, like you can see like your views, like it charts all that stuff. But like
Yeah.
I can go back and look and see in May, like my views were like literally peak. And then it's like they go into a bear market. But I would say we're at the sign of strength on views right now. So
And we were, yeah, really. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So yeah, like I'll let you guys know when I'm making all-time highs for views.
Yeah. That'll be a fun time.
Yeah. But what do you think? It's a good place to wrap it up.
Okay. I mean, you're out in the wilderness. I don't want you to get attacked by a stream. So
I exited the wrong screen. But all right, yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for this time. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. We will never message you. Those are people from Pakistan, Kakistan, Turkistan. I love you, but I'm not gonna message you.
Yes, same deal. I don't care about you enough to message you.
Yeah, please. Listen, I have nothing to sell you. I'm not going to ask you how your trading is going. I don't care. I'm worried about my own trade. All right.
Yes.
All right, guys. That's gonna be it for this time. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. God bless.